Hi guys, my name is Lizelle. I love reading romance books, fantasy, paranormal, contemporary, indie, mafia romance, taboo romance. So if that's your thing, please consider subscribing to my channel. My channel is Lizelle Loves Books. For today's video, I'm gonna talk about my favorite romance series that follow the same couple. So here are my recommendations. The first book I'm gonna talk about is the Crossfire series by Sylvia Day. The series follows Eva and Gideon. I haven't read this series in a long time. I read it when it first came out. So if the names are wrong, I'm sorry, but it's Ava and Gideon. Now this series is different from 50 Shades of Grey because Christian was rich and Anna was not. But in this series, they both come from money. But the girl, Eva, wants to make it on her own. So she applies for a job at an advertising company. But the boss is Gideon Cross, a millionaire. And Ava catches Gideon's attention. So this series is about them. But unlike 50 Shades of Grey, where only Christian suffers from a traumatic past, they both have a traumatic past, Eva and Gideon. They both, like, besides their, in spite of their traumatic past, they still want each other. And they go, and I think people should read this book because they go through a lot. Like from the first book to the last, you can see them both struggling with their demons. It's just not the guy that's struggling, it's the girl and the guy. And you can see, like, them dealing with it together and separately. Like, at one point in the books, I believe one of them suggests they go to therapy. I haven't read these books in a long time. Like I said, I read them when they first came out from Sylvia Day. I'm so sad Sylvia Day is not writing anymore. I think she stopped writing because the last book she came out with, I think, was 2017, and she hasn't come up with anything else. So my recommendation is the Crossfire Saga by Sylvia Day. Again, it's really good if you like 50 Shades of Grey. You'll like the Crossfire series. But I think it's better than 50 Shades because they can relate to each other better. Well, then the second series I'm gonna recommend to you is by R.K. Lily. It's her Up in the Air series, and the characters are Bianca and James. Bianca is a flight attendant, and James is a hotel billionaire. And like they lock eyes on each other, and they see a connection, but Bianca is hesitant to get into a relationship with James because of her traumatic past. But James doesn't care. He keeps pursuing her, and they do form like a physical relationship right away. Like on the plane, they were like, I want you for like one night, and Bianca thought that would like be it, but James is the one that wants more, but Bianca is hesitant for the relationship to be more because of the things she went through in her past. The only person she talks to is her gay best friend. I forgot his name, but I really like this series. It's very good, and I encourage people to read it, because not everybody has heard of R.K. Lily. But I promise you this series is very good. Up in the Air, R.K. Lily. The third series I'm gonna recommend to you is actually a spin-off of the Up in the Air series. And there's these two characters, Tristan and Danika. Now, if you know, Tristan and Danika used to be married, but they're divorced. So it's like a second chance romance. And Danika has a limp. Now, I suggest you read the 3 books in the series. I know for some people they might not like it because the books have to go back to the past. Like book one and book 2 have to go back in the past of how Tristan and Danika started their relationship. Book 3 is the present of their current situation. I know a lot of people don't like books like that, like books to do with the past, But I promise you it's worth it. Because throughout the Up in the Air series, you can tell, like Tristan is pining to get back together with his ex-wife, Danika. But Danika's like, no, I cannot. I'm not going there again. So you have to read the series because, like, their relationship is just so beautiful. So even if you don't like reading stuff about the past, I really highly recommend you read Tristan and Danica by R.K. Riley, because it's just, they go on a wild ride, and Tristan really wants to get back together with his wife. So it's his second chance. So please read this book. The third series I want to recommend is one of my favorite duets. It's the Antiheroes and Love duet by Giana Darling, and it's the main characters are Elena Lombardi and Dante. And the setup is, it's a mafia romance, and Dante is charged with murder. So Dante's best friend, who happens to be Elena's sister, I think her sister Karishma, I don't remember the sister's name. So her sister calls Elena, and she asks her, could you represent Dante? And Elena will do anything for her sister, so she said yes. Now this is a grump sunshine romance, and the girl is the grump in the story, and the monster guy is the grump, and you can see Dante just tearing down Elena's walls. Elena does not want anything to do with the mafia because she has a traumatic past from it, because her father was in the mafia, but she's only doing it for her sister. But you can see Dante breaking down Elena's walls. So it's their romance. It's by Giana Darling. I love anything Giana Darling. The fifth book I want to recommend to you is by Megan Quinn. I think it's going to be a trilogy, because the third book is coming out. The third book will come out eventually, but it's called The Virgin Romance Novelist, and the plot is the main character, Rosie, is an aspiring romance author, and she wants to write her own book. She's like about to graduate college, or she graduated college. She lives with 2 roommates, and they were like, how are you gonna write a romance novel if you don't have any experience in the romance department? though she begged her two friends, her two roommates, one is a guy and the other one's a girl, to kind of help coach her in the love department and like the dating scene. But the guy friend is secretly in love with Rosie, so he coaches her on the dating stuff, but to date this other guy. But we all know she's going to end up with the best friend. I won't spoil it because I won't say anything more because that will spoil it. But this series is so funny. Like a lot, I've heard people talk a lot about Megan Quinn's books, but they don't talk about this book, The Virgin Romance Novelist, and they should because it's so funny. Although I do have to warn you, book 2 is like a surprise baby at the very end, and if you don't like that, it might not be your thing, but I love it because it's so funny. The Virgin Romance Novelist by Megan Quinn. The last book I want to recommend to you is What's Left of Me by Amanda Maxlyn. I have heard nobody talk about this book, and they should. It's a very emotional duet. It's about this girl, Andrea, and Andrea has cancer. Andrea has cancer, and in the middle of like her treatments, her best friend asked her to go to get her mind off things, asked her to go to a club, and then she goes and she has this one night stand with the guy, and then she leaves, and she thinks she's never gonna see the guy again, only to find out the next day her sister introduces her to her husband's co-worker, Parker, the guy she had the one night stand with. So it's about their romance. She is reluctant to get into a relationship with him because he doesn't know she has cancer, but he chases her, people. He wears her down. Yes. And eventually she says yes. But it's about their story and how they deal with her cancer. I promise you, this is a good series. It's called What's Left of Me, and all the series I mentioned today is very spicy, but What's Left of Me is very emotional. I think the author does a really good job with the subject of cancer, like you can really feel it. Amanda Maxlyn, What's Left of Me, it's very good. I encourage everyone to read it because nobody talks about it. What's Left of Me by Amanda Maxlyn. I hope you guys give my recommendations a shot. Please, please, please read them. I'm telling you, they're good. Please consider liking this video and subscribing to my channel and hit that notification bell. Please like the video, subscribe, comment, and let me know what's your favorite series that follow the same couple. Thank you. Bye.